You're being watched. The government has a secret system, a machine that spies on you every hour of every day. I know because I built it. I designed the machine to detect acts of terror, but it sees everything. Violent crimes involving ordinary people. People like you. Crimes the government considered irrelevant. They wouldn't act, so I decided I would. But I needed a partner. Someone with the skills to intervene. Hunted by the authorities. We work in secret. You'll never find us. But victim or perpetrator, if your number's up, we'll find you.
So we have Mr. Kevin Chapman, who plays Detective Fusco in A Person of Interest on CBS. Kevin, good evening. How are you doing?
Good, actually. I'm just a little pressed for time because we're right in the middle of our shooting day.
Oh, very good. No problem.
A way to do this interview.
So you're currently starring in CBS's show Person of Interest. You're playing the role of Detective Fusco. What's it like playing such a peculiar and a shady character?
Well, it's always great to play characters with a sense of duality. You don't know if Fusco's a good guy doing bad things or a bad guy doing good things. And anytime you play a character with that level of duality, it's always interesting because you never really quite know where the storyline or where the writers are going to envision the character and where they're going to take it.
Yeah, of course, and that leads into my next question. Fusco, he's played a good cop, he's played a bad cop, and he always seems to be mixing in with, sort of the wrong crowd and the right crowd. And since his partner Detective Carter died in the last season, in your opinion, how do you think it's affected Fusco? Do you think we're going to see a reformed cop in the making?
Well, I think it set him on a level of redemption. I think what it did, the passing of Carter, it brought Fusco back to a place, a once heroic image of himself that he once had that would probably have initiated him to become a police officer in the first place, And I think the passing of Carter, it kind of righted his ship in a way of coming back around to this heroic image of himself and realizing that doing the right thing isn't so bad after all.
Yeah, and I suppose he's trying to fill some big shoes there as well with taking the place of Detective Carter.
Yeah, I mean, I think to have the loss as close to Fusco as it was, I think it set him right back on this course of redemption, and I think what he's trying to do from that point forth is try to protect and try to preserve the heroic image of Detective Carter, and he knows that, after all, Detective Carter was the one who went out and moved the body of Detective Stills, which would have ultimately, cost Fusco his life in all intended purposes, even though he wasn't the one who killed him. It was perceived to be that he was the one who killed him. And Detective Carter realized that, and she saw the good in Detective Fusco, and she was willing to put herself on the line to protect Fusco. So I think that, at this point, Fusco is on a journey to say thanks by preserving the heroic image of Detective Carter.
Exactly. And season 4 is coming to our screens pretty soon. You've just said there you're out filming at the moment. So is there anything you can tell us about what's going on with Fusco at the moment and what we maybe can expect in season 4? Do we see more of Fusco working directly with John and Finch?
Well, I mean, you see now Fusco's the only one left on the grid. If you saw the finale of season 3, Fusco's the only one that's left on the grid. Everyone else has assumed, identity to protect himself from the machine. So I would imagine the group is going to rely a little bit more on the access that Detective Fusco has. I think that he has proven himself to come within the right side of the law. And I think he's proven himself to Reese and the others. So I have a feeling that they'll be relying on him a little bit more in season 4.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense as well. So come here, tell me, what's it like working with Caviezel and Emerson, both fantastic actors and have some, they've had some major roles in big shows. Emerson coming from the likes of ABC's Lost, that was a massive success for Michael.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. I worked on Lost, and I also did a movie with Jim called Unknown some years ago as well. So Jim and myself didn't have any scenes together. So I was very familiar with both individuals and their work. I think that, the thing that got me most excited about being part of Person of Interest is that it had the right pedigree from top to bottom. You had J.J. Abrams as an executive producer. You had Jonah Nolan, who wrote, the Batman series and was involved in some of my favorite movies like Memento and Prestige. So, it had the right pedigree, and Greg Flagman and I had known each other. I had done some work with him on Cold Case, where he was the executive producer on that show as well. So, going into the whole experience, I felt like it had the right pedigree to succeed. Of course, it was a big coup at the time to get Jim Caviezel to do television, because he had always been known as a movie star. So that was right, and Taraji Henson as well, who was nominated for Academy Award, and so it just really had the right makings of something that I thought that was going to excite people and move them. And as an artist, that's all you can ask. You try to play what is given to you as truthful as possible, but in hopes that you're going to have an effect on people, and I feel that we have had an effect on the viewership.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Now, coming away from Person of Interest for the moment, when did your acting career begin? And do you have a favourite character that you've played so far?
I've had some great experiences. I mean, of course, doing Mystic River with Clint Eastwood opposite Sean Penn and Tim Robbins and Marcia Gay Hart and Laura Linney and Lawrence Fishburne and Kevin Bacon. I mean, that was a tremendous experience. As a child growing up in Boston, I always was a big fan of the Clint Eastwood movies. So I never thought in 1,000 years that I would actually get to work alongside him. And the same thing with Sean Penn. When I got in this business, I just wanted to meet Sean Penn. I never thought that I would go on to do 2 films with him. So that was a very special moment for me. And they're all kind of my favorites for different reasons. Ladder 49 was a tremendous experience working with John Travolta and Joaquin Phoenix. I got to work with the Weitz brothers in Good Company. The Weitz brothers did American Pie, and so this is in About a Boy, which is my wife's favorite movie. So they've all been special in their own right.
Yeah, finding it hard to kind of choose the right balance when you've got pretty much a pick of everything in there.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and I'd like to play. I like to play a variety of characters. I don't like to get, like when I did Mystic River. Because of my performance in Mystic River, I was offered Brotherhood for Showtime, and so it was great to play that kind of menacing character for a period of time, and then in Good Company, I got to play something a little more on the lighter side, which is a little more of a dramedy. And then, of course, Dennis Leary wrote a tremendous character for me on Rescue Me, which, the 7-episode arc I did with playing Terrence, the obnoxious brother, which was a lot of fun because, anytime you get to play comedy and really act a fool, that's joyous as well for an actor,
Yeah, and leading into our last question, Person of Interest isn't actually your first work on a TV series. You did star in Brotherhood there. You played Freddie Cork. Tell us a bit more about Brotherhood.
Correct. Brotherhood was a great script. It was written by Blake Masters, and it was Blake Masters and the other executive producer who we lost last year was a tremendous talent by the name of Henry Brommel, who you would know as executive producer of Homeland. Mm-hmm. Henry left us last year due to cardiac arrest. Two tremendously talented individuals. It was a great cast. We had your countryman, Brian O'Byrne, of course, who was on the show. We had Jason Isaacs and Jason Clark, whose career has just really been taking off as of late. I shouldn't say as of late, within the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, he's really put up some monumental work. He was The Great Gatsby with DiCaprio. He did the Michael Mann movie there with Johnny Depp, Public Enemy. He's got the new Planet of the Apes film that's out right now. I mean, the guy, he's filming Terminator right now. So, we had a great cast. Fanula Flanagan, another country woman, I guess you could say, who I watched back to Rich Van Foreman. She was a tremendous talent. And Annabeth Gish. I mean, we just had a really good cast, and it was rather unfortunate that Brotherhood found its audience when it was too late, and the executives at the network had already made a decision to discontinue the series. But it's great. I feel that Brotherhood has opened the door for shows like Ray Donovan, and it's really helped the network to know how to handle a show of that content. Because up until that point, Showtime hadn't really had any programming that was as dark as Brotherhood could once get. So it was rather unfortunate, but it was a great experience, nevertheless.
Yeah, it opened the door for controversial shows such as Brotherhood. Going into the
absolutely. I feel Ray Donovan. Like I say, I feel that Showtime had a much better handle on a show like Ray Donovan after the experience with Brotherhood. But as I say, it was a great experience. We had 3 years. It went the way it went, and look at it this way: if I was doing Brotherhood, I wouldn't be able to be a part of Person of Interest right now.
Exactly, and there's bigger and better things to come from Fusco and all the crew at Person of Interest.
Well, it's always nice to be playing a variety of characters and to work with there's some incredibly talented and incredibly bright people in our industry, and it's always nice to be a part of something that they've created. To have these incredibly successful, incredibly bright writers, create a script and then come to you and say, I'd like for you to be a part of this, of all the actors that are in the business. That's very flattering for me personally. Anyway, I didn't get into acting until I was well into my 30s. It was something that I didn't aspire to do. It was something that was presented to me, and I embraced it. And I knew that if I, in fact, was going to have a career in it, that I would have to work at the craft, and that's something that I've constantly prided myself on constantly doing that, and constantly trying to take risk in different roles that will stretch me as an actor and bring me to different places.
Yeah, and with Person of Interest, that has just shown, the phenomenal acting and effort that you've put into the show. It really does show in the character that is portrayed. So we've got a lot more to look forward to with that. Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you this evening. I know you're busy there. You've got season 4, in the middle of filming season 4, so we don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you watching and the support for the show. I think we're going to have a very, very exciting season 4. We're just starting episode 6, which we just started yesterday, and I think the fans are going to be in for a hell of a ride this season.
We look forward to it. Kevin, thank you, and have a good day and good night from all here at Sky High Radio in the UK and Ireland.
You as well. Thank you.